Yo, what's going on? This is the NOC, the Nerds of Color, and we are back with another ShoPowSho. I am Kuya P, your Babinka boy, your Dobro, leader of the Holla Holla Homies and the Senna Gang Gang. And of course, I got the Lechon ladies, the Tocino Terminators, the amazing Ates. What's up, Ates?
We get to be Terminators too. That's very exciting.
Yes. Gotta get some in there for
2021, so that's the energy that we're bringing.
Yeah, it is.
You know? How about the Denaguan Destroyers?
I love all of these.
Yeah,
the more
good.
that you come up with, the more powerful we grow. I love
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So really excited. We're actually recording this now in 2021, our first recording of 2021. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're bringing that vibe and that energy into this. How about y'all? How was y'all's New Year's?
So chill. So good. So chill. I was in bed by like 12:20. It was the best.
My TikTok went viral, which was really cool.
Oh, go ahead. What'd you do?
Played with a stuffed animal.
Oh yeah.
Animals. So
I saw the video joint you dropped with I think one of your clients receiving their stuffed animal and like straight up, because I was looking at you reacting. So like, you know, I'm sensitive as hell now lately. So tears, you had me crying, girl.
We all cried.
I don't try to make that happen, but it is a very just wholesome, heartwarming type business. So yeah, but that was exciting. That was the most exciting part. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then I went to bed. Woke up the next morning like, oh.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not a good time to be out partying. So, you know, it was cool to just kind of chill and not be too wilding out. You know, I'm too old for that shit now, so I can't be doing all that. But yeah, all right. So
I'm home all 2021 too. That's what my goals.
Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I'm excited to see y'all again. We made it. We survived, and we're gonna make 2021 our year, and we're gonna kick it off right, man, with more of the West Coast. The West Coast, we got a lot of West Coast love. I used to live in the Pacific Northwest. I used to live in Port Orchard. If y'all remember from episode 2, the wild story of me playing basketball, coming back from that. And that whole racist incident I occurred down in Port Orchard. And so I'm really curious about our guest experience in Seattle and growing up there. So let's bring her on. I'm super excited. We actually became familiar through her work on Instagram. And then I was just blown away by it. This is going to be our first virtual meeting. We haven't met in person, but I'm looking forward to once we have a vaccine, we can actually link up because I know she does the con circuit and just reading some of her information, just wilding out. She's got her vibe. She's got that aesthetic. I love her already, and I haven't even talked to her that much, but we're going to all fall in love all together as we bring in Miss Ninang NuNu, Tammy Vince Cruz. What's up, girl? Here we go.
Hey, mabuhay mga kababayan.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, love it. Welcome. Love the vibe. Love the tita professional. That just, go ahead. Got the Black Lives Matter pump it off because it's important. Let people know.
You know, of course, always. But anyway, thank you guys for having me here. I'm hella honored and humbled to just be talking with y'all, and especially like hanging out with folks on Nerds of Color. So
yes,
yeah, I about peed my pants when I like got that message via Instagram, and I was like, holy shit, is this really happening? So thank you.
Oh, of course, man. Mad love. It's all about our community. It's the people. We all in this together, man.
Thanks for joining us.
I know, right? Thanks for answering your DMs.
True. So, yo, let's kick it off, man, because you got an amazing story. We're going to get into it. We're going to dig into it. And I love it. So, Viva, Valentina, kick him off. Let's go.
So we want to know, where are you from? But like,
where are your parents from? Where am I? Okay. Oh, that question. Oh, where am I really from? Excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't answer. Do you want my street address? What are you?
Just where are you from? Your parents.
You need to know like coordinates. I don't know. I was born and raised in Tacoma, Washington. As much as Seattle gets a little love here in the PNW, Kuya P would know. Just hop, skip, and a jump. Further south, Port Orchard. I was born and raised in Tacoma and like a little burb north called Federal Way. But yeah, Born, raised, been here my whole life. It's interesting seeing Seattle apparently become a destination on the US map because no one knew anything about us except for grunge and Starbucks, and now it went kind of kablooey.
You think because of the Seahawks winning finally?
Well,
'Cause
yeah.
when I was living there, they weren't doing nothing.
Oh, trust. Yeah. No, I hear you. And like that was really interesting too, like growing up, watching the games with my dad and stuff too. But I still personally always have love for, the Seattle
Oh, yes.
Supersonics.
The Supersonics, yes.
But
Same. Sean Kemp.
always.
I was there back in I grew up in the Seattle area 94, 95, yo. This is when I was there. So I'm an old head. I'm old.
Oh, trust, same, but
so getting at the root of Tina's question, tell us, because you sent your amazing bio. Tell us about your parents and then them coming here and that whole story, which I think is great, and just I think a lot of people will connect with that.
Okay, so I'm sure y'all heard this before. I know I've heard this on the ShoPowSho. Surprise! My dad was in the military, and my mom was a nurse. Surprise, right? Except my dad, he was a coastie, other side of the Puget Sound, hanging out on the Seattle side versus Bremerton. But my mom is from Iloilo. She's a Longa. And my dad's from Pangasinan, and he is Pangasinenese. Okay, that's a lot of syllables, but yeah. They immigrated here directly as a result of the Immigration Act of 1965. If y'all didn't know, read up on your AAPI history. But yeah, they were part of that kind of force of like skilled labor that was needed. And it just was a huge wave of people coming over here. And my parents met in Alameda in the Bay Area. Make it quick. My dad's a big nerd about many things. And I'm his daughter, but it's really cute because what happened? Oh, sorry, my Zoom was freaking out.
It's all good, you're good.
But basically, there was a laundry facility near the Coastie base in the Bay Area, and my mom and one of her nurse besties would go there because there was a lot of other Pinoys and Pinays. They're in their 20s. They just freaking left their country, which had rough economic situations, not to mention martial law and all that. Anyway, my mom was reading a Reader's Digest, and my dad tells me, he's like, I knew it was love at first sight because I saw her reading that Reader's Digest, and I was like, oh my god, you're such a nerd. So yeah, they basically met. They have a hella cute story. I'm so freaking proud of them with that immigrant struggle. They either could have bought a car or they could have had a semi-fancy wedding. They said no. They went with a nice, I think it was a 74 Camaro.
All right.
I was like, oh, okay, that's actually a great idea. They went and got not eloped, but married at the courthouse instead of having a fancy wedding. And their first meal was on top of a freaking rice cooker box. So I know, so cute.
You're like, fast car.
I know, fast car, and our table is a rice cooker box. Priorities, I get it, right? Fast forward, my dad got stationed here in Washington, and my sister was born here, and ta-da, I was too.
Awesome. Do they still have that Reader's Digest? Because that would be something I'd want to put up on the wall. This is where the love started.
What was she reading?
I doubt they have that specific one, but knowing my parents and their house situation, they have a lot of Reader's Digest. So not specifically
one.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, for my mom keeps everything. She's gotten better with stuff. She gets rid of stuff, but that has sentimental value. So maybe. So
and trust.
Is that going to be an episode?
I feel like that should be an episode. Yeah,
It's an episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if they're coming from like a developing country where they have nothing, and then they're like, kablam, I have all the things because of various reasons, and I work my ass off. I get it.
That is
So.
that's it. That's the episode.
Yeah, that's really
Done.
good.
I love it. So talk about growing up in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. I know for me, as you've heard from my second week living in Seattle, the issues I had from episode 2 of ShoPowSho. How was it for you? Because in Port Orchard at South Kitsap High School, it was 76%, like I said, white people, paper white. I've never seen whiter white people in my life until I moved to the Pacific Northwest. But how was it for you?
All of the above. Again, because I wasn't like in the Tacoma Federal Way area, it wasn't that hub that Seattle was, right? Or even parts of Bremerton. And while it was hella putit, let's be real. Like I can remember like in my classroom, say of 30, there'd probably be like 5 POC. And that's including me. So it definitely was interesting. We had I think as a kid, you don't really realize that like when something hurts and someone says like strange things to you, you're just like, why did that hurt? And then, you know, reflecting upon it later, you're just like, oh, that's just racist. Like, what the hell? We very much were one of the only Filipino family on a block for a really long time. We often got our house egged, our like mailbox like destroyed. And of course, it was very clear it was specifically for our family because there was nothing else, no one else's house. It was pretty regular. Of course, the like authorities that we notified didn't really, not a high priority, you know, it's just just an egging. But, you know, those kinds of things definitely, and your sense of identity growing up, like you said, Kuya P, like for me, in those spaces of non-Filipino spaces, it's so much easier in ways to just assimilate to being more puti, right? And like being in those spaces where there's a lot more Filipinos, you're just straddling two sides of identity. You're just American, I guess, whatever that means, and then you're also Filipino. And like, you know, this kind of tripped me out when I think I was listening to, I can't remember which episode of y'all's, but I think one of you had talked about how teachers had told your parents not to teach you Tagalog. And that was the same thing for me because it'd be confusing, which we all know being bilingual, multilingual is like
now
bad as hell.
Right.
Yeah. So here I am like freaking 39 years old, like with all my like Tagalog learning apps. I'm like, oh, this is so hard. But, you know, I feel like it helps me understand the culture so much more and appreciate and really love like the way my parents speak, the way my aunties and cousins, all of them, as much as we as kids were like, that's a Fabi accent, you know, again, because of shame. Now I just love it so much. And I find, you know, shit, I don't speak 2 languages fluently, much less insert other dialects, you know? So yeah, anyway, I could keep going on.
Awesome. Yeah, truth. So for me, you know, because I was experiencing a lot of that bullying and, you know, and just having to kind of adapt and change and code switch, you know, around different people, I got deeper into my art. Like at that point of time in high school, like I wanted to become a comic book artist and was just stay at home and draw all day. I know you're a graphic designer. So what was it for you? What did you do when you were experiencing that, and talk about just some of the early things you got into as a young Tammy?
Yeah, I mean, very similar. One of my best friend growing up was actually half Korean. And hello, we connected because we were one of the 5 POC in class, surprise. And she's still like one of my best friends today, which is like awesome. And I love kind of reflecting on like how we've evolved as adults, right?
Walk sisters.
But she and I, like her brother was cool and like a skater, And I was like, oh my God, your brother's so cool. And he introduced us to a lot of like 70s and 80s anime. And this was like early 90s. And so we are in second grade watching some stuff we shouldn't be watching. I had like my first exposure to like animated boobies in second grade. I was like, oh my God, what is this? But like, you know, everyone's gotten there at some point.
Let's keep it real. We out for real.
It was just, you know, for the two of us, it was nice to have that world for ourselves. We really dove into that, and we drew comics all day. She's also a great illustrator too. We drew comics and pictures and just whatever. And it was just so much easier to escape into that, instead of understanding, okay, I'm not part of this other world that's I see on the daily. And it was nice to, I think I might have said this a little bit, like anime and it like was Asian adjacent, right? To Filipino culture. So while, even though I didn't grow up Japanese, obviously, because reasons I am not, it was like, oh, okay, they take their shoes off, they're eating rice. Like that kind of easy stuff that you're just like, okay, that's like, it's okay and normal to be Asian, right? Versus all the other things. Like for me, and I know y'all are mestizo and mestiza. My Sawa is mestizo as well. He's like 38%. And so his story actually sounds a lot like y'all's, which is really interesting to me. But for me, like exposure to things like with the food, like going to OCB, that was like exciting for me. Because it's like, oh shit, what is this? Like cornbread or like, you know, all these other things. That was because my parents generally cooked. My dad always cooked. And so, yeah, I'm totally like straying off the point. I'm like trying to talk about being an artist, but yeah, drawing very much was always something that settled me. It gave me peace. It gave me joy. Kind of like a form of meditation of sorts, right? And it still is. And so, yeah.
So was that your first passion? You know, so like that's where I would escape to. So did that, what was like, at that point where it's like, this is what I want to do when I get older? Or did you know it at that point? Or is there a lot of different things that you're into and that was just one of your escapes that kind of
you know, honestly, I always wanted to do it, but like I really wanted to be an animator as a kid. And I think 90s like Disney stuff was especially like exploding, right? Because like Little Mermaid had just come out, and then all the other subsequent like animated movies, right? And so Disney's animation studio became hot again. And so I really studied like everything about animation and wanted to be an animator or do something drawing. But I don't know if this was like the same for y'all, but you know, my parents were very much like, so you're going to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, or bust, because no one has time for your doodles or your cartoons, right? Like per the debut. Oh my God, right? The debut freaking makes me bawl. So time, by the way.
Just wait, you know, well, by the time this is your episode will be out a little bit later, but we're recording right before our Dante Bosco episode drops. I hope you peep that, Tammy. But yeah. Yo, and I read your bio how much debut was you. Yo, so you and I can definitely, yes, that spoke to me, cried, bawled, everything. Like, yes.
Yeah, totally. And you know, it's like, I get it. My parents, they came from a developing country, and it's like, you have to pick something that is secure on this like adventure. And I know that they came here to make a better life for me, right? Mm-hmm. But again, it's like, we have options as the second gen that are different from what your opportunities are. And as much as I know that they wanted that success for myself in that way, I'm like, I'll let my cousins do it. You know, art consistently was just something for me. And I feel absolutely elated to be doing it still as a career. So
So, yo, let's get into that phase. Like, so obviously that's what they were pushing onto you. And you wrote about this in the bio you sent to us, but like what can you take us to that moment where like, okay, I'm a self, where, I don't want to take away from the story, but how you're like, okay, no, I'm going to do this.
Story,
You know?
because that is actually on our bingo card sheet. That parental pressure to find that steady collegiate career away from the arts in particular. Like so yes, you are not alone. We want to hear your brand.
Oh, doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant.
Oh yes, excuse me, accountant. Thank you. I hope that's also on your bingo card. So again, I am highly aware that going to college is a freaking privilege, right? And my parents didn't have to do that shit for me at all. And they saved since I was a little kid to help me go through that. So mad props to them for assisting me through even just like community college. Because I started out in community college because I didn't know what to do. And totally was like, let's get some credits out of the way. I thought, you know what? Let me just be a programmer. It's still kind of art adjacent. I guess adjacent's the word of the day. It's kind of art-ish. I can maybe make some arty things by doing programming. And while that's totally, is that right brain, right?
Yeah, the art.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, programming's right brain?
I think programming's left brain.
I think left brain. I think left brain is the analytic logic STEM side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, totally different sides of the brain, right? And for me, like going to college, going to school for programming made me so freaking unhappy. As much as I had done it in high school, it was just like miserable. I ended up actually almost getting kicked out of community college, which is kind of funny. I mean, like, because let's be real, I was straight up depressed and like, hashtag please go get therapy if you have access and you need it. And I think that's another episode for y'all.
No, absolutely.
Mental health within
Mental health with the Filipino community, particularly for second gen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Real talk. Real talk.
I think I was about to be kicked out of community college. And then I think there was just like a point where I was just like, you know what? I am going to go and pursue art as a career, whether or not I have their support or not. And that was really hard for me. And I'm sure y'all know, talking back, not that I was talking back, I was a pretty good kid for the most part, but still defying that kind of like, I guess, order of sorts was so scary, so hard. And yeah, you don't. Oh my gosh. Like I was ready for some chinelas, like but I think it was one of those things for me, being especially quite sheltered too when I was younger, not understanding that like I had actually a voice for myself and opinions for myself, and like that self-worth comes from within, right? Not necessary validation from other people, even that includes your parents, right? So I had already I told my parents I'd already applied to an art school or art college that was nearby, and I got accepted. And I told them, I was just like, I'm going with your help or not. And my dad of course was really mad. But sweetly my mom was my support, and I'm hella grateful for that. I'm getting all verklempt over here. But what's really sweet, another side story to that, and this was so one of my dad's shipmates and good friends who actually lived in the area we did, another coastie, he was my tito, of course. They had kids. Their eldest daughter babysat me as a kid, and their youngest, I'm gonna call him Law because he doesn't like Larry Boy, but he became a graphic designer, and it blew my damn mind. I was like, holy shit, you went from drawing Ninja Turtles to fucking working at Nintendo. And that was like super idol status for me. And so I think inadvertently, and I'm not inadvertently, it very much gave me personal permission to do the same thing. And because he's very successful at it.
Representation matters.
Ooh, seriously. Oh my gosh, you guys need that as a soundbite.
Yeah, right.
Like a little button that's like, you know. So yeah, and you know it's really interesting because I'd see that Dito every once in a while when I visit my parents during art school, college, and he would just be like, give me 2 seconds.
It's all good. It's all good. We love you. It's all good.
He would say, I am so proud of what you're doing.
We love you. We love you. It's all love, man. This is dope.
We do this
All right.
sometimes. We all just cry.
Yeah. We feel you.
We only charge you when you start to make us cry, okay?
We feel you, Tammy.
Because we're getting
We
there.
feel you. Work it out. Work it out.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And we want to
Hashtag-
we want to hear the hard stuff, and sometimes the good stuff is the hard stuff. You know.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, again, go talk to somebody if you gotta talk to somebody, y'all.
Exactly.
Let me just not look like I did some things real quick.
It's all love. It's all love.
But I think
Eyeliner
too.
is gorgeous, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Your eyeliner is still flawless, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? I will message you this eyeliner because it is my favorite because it is cosplay proof. So
I'm
I'll
always
understand. It is cosplay proof. 12 hours of being in an outfit, and then you're just like, oh, my eyeliner's still great. So
And I'm peeping the earrings, by the way. I'm like, my daughter would love those earrings. Yes.
this is a
I'm
local.
looking at your earrings.
Yeah, your style.
The
I think-
Suns, yo.
I can't remember. It's a local Tacoma artist, but I can't remember their name. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. We'll have to peep it later.
Anyway, back to this Dito. He said
Yes.
those really hard words that are so like rare to hear from Filipino parents. I'm proud of you. And so
Beautiful.
that gave me motivation to not only continue in art school, but kick fucking ass.
Hell yeah.
And I graduated with like ridic honors. And granted, I graduated when we had the recession. 2007, 2006, 2008. So that was interesting, becoming like a graphic designer around that time. But you know what? I think for me personally, that kind of drive of it's hard because like when you have motivation to prove someone wrong, there's a point where it just kind of doesn't feed you anymore. You know, I already proved it to my fucking self at this point. So I'm not going to use your denial to feed me. Because there's a point too, I feel, and I talked about this a little bit, where it can just turn it into constant burnout too. Like, you know what? If I keep doing it, if I keep doing all the awesome stuff and, you know, get these accolades or whatever, then that means I have some worth because it's success in their eyes, but really it's success for you, right?
It's like negative reinforcement versus positive reinforcement. Like being negatively motivated versus being positively motivated. Like,
I mean, it can be a stepping stone, but that's really all it ever is.
Yeah.
Is you gotta move on to better things, better motivations.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's kind of my story over and over. And I think I had a loop for a while where that was like a thing for me. Just kind of getting this, let me just kick my own ass and work so hard and do 5 million things and get into so many projects and then just burn myself out over and over. But in the end, I didn't see necessarily the result of approval I wanted. You know what I mean? And again, it's like, oh gosh, like now I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna do whatever I want. But yeah, I guess, right? Those are those kinds of things. If you find yourself in a loop, you better learn that lesson real quick, because no need to keep suffering shit.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, obviously there was a lot of kind of that feeling coming from, home and second generation, and Filipino in particular, but also, I mean, you're going into an artistic field, which, people say all kinds of nice things about people seeking, higher education, especially in artistic fields. And, you're a woman of color. And so, can you speak a little bit about outside limitations that maybe you experienced or felt were implied?
What's interesting is my professors in art school were really awesome about being my support. A couple of my professors, if I did not receive such kind words from them, I would not be doing what I'm doing. And I actually specifically inquired about being a woman in the industry of graphic design. And one of my professors, who actually was an animator for Disney and Hanna-Barbera and all that, like also idol status, oh my gosh, he was just like, oh no, it's your talent that will carry you. And I was like, oh, okay, and I didn't really think about that until I got into other started working as a graphic designer. And I think more so the being a woman thing was I guess issue in non-design spaces within a company, but definitely the microaggressions aplenty of being a woman of color in spaces, especially if I worked in an area that was like hella pute. Also, I mean, again, I'm still in Washington, and for a long time I worked outside of Seattle, and so I mean, if you've come through, you might know, like, it's Seattle and then a few cities up and down where you have most of the like POC population. Of course, East Side, Eastern Washington is a completely different thing because of a lot of the farming communities. Mm-hmm. But I didn't necessarily, thankfully, feel those limitations, but I think also I inserted myself in spaces where I could avoid that bullshit. So.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
So post-college and coming into your own now, and the family now accepting you for who you are and what you're doing and your goals, and seeing how talented you are. Talk about now, but you got into, although you did get into, recession time period when you got out. How was that in finding your voice with your creative style and work?
So, if you haven't seen my work, either via Ninang NuNu or just some of my personal doodles, or even some of my graphic design work, I'm a huge ass otaku. I know that can be a bad word. I was waiting for that nerd cred question, but that's cool.
We gotta give it to you.
I found, again, finding myself and inserting myself into spaces where I knew I not necessarily found comfort, but I wanted to pursue these things, was really a way for me to find other like-minded people. And you'll know this about like cons, just nerd spaces in general. You're just finding your tribe in different ways. And so one of my former classmates from college, she had put out an inquiry about like organizing a local convention. And this was like 2010. And called GeekGirlCon. So this was amid like, fake geek girl allegations and all this nonsense. We busted our ass, like grassroots style, fundraising, everything, and the first GeekGirlCon debuted like a year and a half after starting planning. That was, again, one of those points where I like busted my ass, and it was such a beautiful feeling. That first con, seeing so many smiling faces, especially women's families, just enjoying a different space, enjoying conventions, and knowing that it was a safe space, all inclusive, all in welcoming. And it's still, I think it's still going to this day. Yeah, please come through. By the way, the last one this past October was virtual, and they had Dante Bosco too. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll never forget when y'all started up. We heard, I heard about you. Nerds of Color's been around for a minute, and I've been involved with the industry for a minute. I remember when y'all started up, and I was just as a I think at that time when y'all started up, my daughter, she was born in 2007, and just having, raising a daughter and wanting her to kind of get into the stuff that I'm into, I was just so thankful that there is now this show specifically for young geek females. And so I'm just, extremely thankful for that show. And so shout out to Geek Girl Con, and, just been tracking what y'all been doing, been wanting to make my way out there, and hopefully at some point I can make my way to a show. And just, that's super dope that y'all exist.
Yeah. While I don't work with them anymore, yeah, they have been rocking. They've been evolved so beautifully, and I love what they're doing still. For me, I was with them only for a couple, like 2.5 years, but again, that was from very, very, very beginning through 2 cons. And at that time, I was vice president and design manager, like a bananas person trying to do 5 million things.
Yeah.
But it taught me a lot about my own personal boundaries, my personal strengths, and just connecting. Listening. There was a strange comment at one point earlier on the in organizing. I don't mean this as any tea or shade at all, seriously. Someone had commented, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're on the board because you add flavor." And I was like,
oh no.
Because I know that you are probably implying because I'm the only POC on this board right now. You know what I mean? But since then, they've had another Pinay as their president, and just a various amount, and they've really pushed to make it much more of a safe space for POC people.
Good.
But yeah, Geek Girl Con seriously paved the way for me for a lot of other opportunities afterward, including the Unicorn Files, which is like a booklet featuring female identified geeks. And the idea is that, female geeks are apparently a unicorn.
Oh yeah.
Right, sure. And so not only was I one of the featured geeks of the day, I guess, I was also I designed their logo. But yeah, again, inserting yourself in those spaces to do work that you love, it's setting your own damn path. Shit.
Writing that down.
So designing, getting it so outside of Geek Girl Con and just finding your way as a designer, what is probably like the hardest lessons you've learned, or like a comment you got on a project that you learned a lot from that was just difficult, and that you kind of grew from that and still finding your voice?
Early on, as a budding baby designer,
Yeah.
I would say it's not about you. It's absolutely not about you unless it's literally your own specific project, because design is all about, fulfilling a brief in the most succinct way possible and effective way possible within a limited amount of space. So, because I work in print, which I know is a dying art, JK, it's not. It feels like fun and old school in a way. And I'm not knocking any like UX or UI designers whatsoever. I'm just saying print designers are like hard to come by. Finding jobs for print is pretty rough too. And like you can find like varying levels of skill in terms of pay and all that. But I love print. I love it so much. I love it being tactile. Y'all know this in terms of comic books, manga, any types of unboxing videos. Someone's got to design that damn box. So, I guess, What was the question again?
Just like a lesson you've learned, or like a project that kind of hit hard, that you can just give lessons to, from being a young designer trying to make it in the game, to all these other designers that are, going through it.
Yeah. I feel like these are life lessons as a whole. Listen.
True.
Be true to yourself. Be authentic. And also know when it's not your turn or your lane.
Mm.
Love it.
Sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but I think too, learn from your peers and those who preceded you. If you can find a mentor, that's awesome. Just like my Kuya Larry, Kuya Law, he was my idol, and use that positive thing as a motivation. So
okay.
Yeah. And practice every day, by the way. Practice that shit a lot.
Hell yeah.
Art-wise, how would you describe like your art evolution to where it is now? Like your style evolution? Because I love your work. Like it's
bright
so
and colorful.
fun. It makes me feel good to look at. Like it just I love it. And I'm just wondering how'd you get there?
Thank you, by the way. I think again, because I love anime, right things. I am a baby of the 80s and 90s too. And so I'm hype about those really ridiculous, shocking colors. I want you to like have your eyes seared, from 10 feet away before you even know what's coming, I think as a young kid, definitely drawing anything comics or animation was a thing for myself. And becoming a designer, I think is, so like becoming a graphic designer, you don't necessarily need to be an illustrator, but to be an illustrator, you don't have to necessarily be a graphic designer. So my profession is graphic design, but I happen to also illustrate. I think, just a lot of those influences, 80s, 90s, and Japanese street fashion and their design aesthetic, which is really crowded and bananas to me, which I love. And then add in a splash of like a lot of the like European style minimalist design too. Not necessarily in my own stuff. I love it. That's kind of how I come to be. Like you might on my Ninang NuNu stuff, it's mainly typography based right now. There's a lot of stuff that's illustration based coming in the works. Y'all might have seen the Kiss My Poet. Like,
yes, we love it. We love that one in particular. Yes.
Like the one.
Yeah.
Love it.
Look, is my YouTube
Yes.
channel. Kiss My Poet. I honestly, drawing butts is pretty hilarious to me ever since I was a kid too. I think practice, and I think too, understanding that my personal tastes are always, currently at least, just gonna be saturated colors and whatever. And I think too, while I watch and want and aim always to support other kababayan who are doing their freaking hustle like y'all, it's interesting seeing what styles of graphic design become visibly available for the Philam sphere, right? And for me, while I love that aesthetic and that style, and I think it fits for a lot of people, it wasn't anything that was necessarily resonating for me or with me. And I was like, can we just up that saturation a little bit and throw in a little bit more like cross colors 90s?
Yeah.
We get like 200% cooler and then we're good to go, right?
But yeah, and then like my illustration style, if you end up following my personal just account, I'll throw up doodles there too. It's always like cute girls like in a like a cute baby or like just feminine things, because I feel like a lot of my stuff tends to read pretty femme with it, my illustration work. But Ninang NuNu, I had to purposefully kind of make sure that even though we got pink, whatever, that doesn't mean anything, that is appealing very much to a wider audience than what my illustration work does.
Dope.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
Ninang
We will
NuNu
definitely
stuff.
follow
Like,
you on everything.
I have
so.
the Instagram pulled up and I'm like, yes, it's so full of color. It's so full of attitude. And it seeing like bucket, why though? Like, and the,
Do you know what it is? It's casually Phil-am, and I love it.
It is.
Like
Yes.
that's so few things do that, and I feel like it's so niche, and it's for me particularly.
Yeah.
I love this. I love these colors. I love anime. Like I'm Filipino. Oh, this is great. Yeah.
but then it appeals to so many different people where they're gonna look at that and they're like, what is a pouet?
And then they're gonna Google it.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
they're like, "What? Like what language is that? Like obviously you're saying ass, but like you know, and that's just that, like you're making our culture cool.
Hell yes.
It is.
That's what it feels like.
Okay. I mean, I thank you. That is a big ass, like, whoa. It was already a cool ass culture. I'm just trying to add a specific different lens. You know what I mean?
Love
Exactly.
And I think too, what's hilarious about this, because a lot of my coworkers like we follow each other, right? Because you want to support each other who are a bunch of other designers and artists. And they're like, what is a pouet? I'm like, let's learn you a Tagalog word of the day, kids. You know? And so they're so cute, and they're just like, oh my God, blah, 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 pouet. I'm like, oh my God. All right. Simmer down. But yeah, I think too, you know, with Ninang NuNu, it's if you read any of the copy on like the Etsy site for Ninang NuNu, etsy.com/shop/Ninang NuNu, it is very much written in form like you are talking to somebody's tita or ninang. And for me, like, I say this specifically about Ninang NuNu. Ninangs are the best. Like, and I'm not saying if you're not a ninang, you're terrible, because that's not the case. It is, you get that special treatment from ninang. There's extra love from your ninang. But, you know, I aim for Ninang NuNu to be this personality of the cool tita, right? Who not only is the cool one who will do the cha-cha slide with you, but she also supports you. And again, per my earlier story, you know, I want to change that narrative of support versus, you know, denying one's ideas and dreams, right? Or dismissing them. Ninang NuNu is that tita who will sit down and offer you a sip of her tuba. So there you go.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Yo, so we've been talking about it. What made you want to birth this? What finally decided for you that I need to do this?
I think as I had gotten older and kind of got tired of trying to be somebody else, aka fit into a more petite sphere, I found myself really longing for some of those like more familiar things about Filipino culture that I had grown up with. And specifically, while I had casually been trying to learn Tagalog or watch, you know, some drama movies or whatever. And of course, you still get that culture when you go to parties or festivals or somebody's wedding, etc. I have to give mad love and credit to a couple of my cousins who came and visited here for 6 months. Because shout out to my freaking cousin Camille. She Encia. She is also a YouTuber. She does like science-based little video snippets.
Oh, cool.
And she is the cousin that was getting her doctorates. So yeah, she was here at UW getting her doctorates, and her Asawa just freaking opened the floodgates to Filipino culture for me even more. And I absolutely love them so much for it. Doesn't hurt that they both are huge ass nerds. And so we connected really beautifully on a lot of stuff. And it gave me much more of a perspective to let go of a lot of the hurt I had, kind of held on to regarding the Filipino American culture, or just my experiences. And so it was just like, it felt right. And I think too, especially being into anime, like that can be riddled with all sorts of like awkwardness being Filipino, right? History, so awkward, y'all. Yeah. History between our countries, etc. Right? Like, I think, yeah, it very much made me dive deep into it, and it very much beautifully let me also kind of join other organizations that were local for Filipino groups, whether that was like Gabriela or the Fawns group here. I haven't been active there, but like just connects in the network, and you're just like, oh, there's other Filiams in this space doing the same thing. They're varying levels of whateverness, right? And I think I just kind of wanted to remix what I was ingesting from the culture and then barf it out in a way that was just like familiar and comforting. You get it or you don't, and that's okay. If you don't, just go ask somebody. But yeah. So yeah. I very much find myself still on this journey of learning so much about the Philippines and its culture and its history here in the United States and across the world, and of course in the Philippines. So yeah.
I love it. Love it.
I
Love
feel
it. Love
you.
it.
Same. Welcome to the ShoPowSho. Filipino culture. Oh man,
So-
that's awesome.
I love it, love it, love it. I want to get back to Ninang NuNu again, because there's more I want to get into regards to that, especially the ShoPowSho and our love for the Ninang NuNu. But there was one thing that I didn't know until I got your bio that kind of was like, what? So you found or you work in a job as an otaku. This was kind of like an otaku fulfillment, if you will. So
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead and tell us who you work with as well during the day?
So yes, packaging designer by daylight, Ninang NuNu by night, moonlight, right?
Right.
But I happen to work for a big yellow electric rodent. If y'all know who that is. I work for Pikachu. So I work at the Pokémon Company International here near Seattle. It's in a city called Bellevue. This grade up freaking my dream job. And
Right? Like graphic designing for Pokemon?
Oh,
yeah.
As an otaku? What?
Yeah, trust. Like, I am still in awe every day, not only to be working for the company, but excuse me, to be working with like the huge array of talent that I work with too. And it fires my ass up all the time. It's awesome. And they treat us very, very well. So, yeah, like once pandemic situation gets situated, come through, y'all. Come visit
I
me.
will.
Oh, most def.
I
do
heard, is there a room in that Pokemon headquarters that has like one of everything? Is that true? Like
Maybe.
one of every toy?
she's having like plushy dreams right now. Like
Maybe.
I can see the like thought bubble above her head.
I totally know what you mean.
If
Sorry.
you'll, I wanted to ask you what your favorite Pokemon was. Are you allowed to have a favorite? Do they make you not have a favorite when you?
Well, you're totally allowed to have a favorite.
You choose it.
They very much encourage everybody to be like into the brand, because that'd be weird.
Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe they wouldn't want you to play favorites and like hurt somebody's feelings. Like,
Oh, no way.
we love
No
all.
way. So I don't think this is issue, but like, so when you become a full-time employee, so you have your little nameplate, right? That shows where you sit. You get a pick out of an available list who your Pokemon little icon is. And even though I am OG Kanto region, like grass type forever Bulbasaur, because Bulbasaur looks like my old Ninang. I mean, like Ninong, my old Ninong. He was so cute. Anyway, Ninong. I very much wanted Bounsweet, but Bounsweet was not available. But I got the rad evolution of Serena with her drop kick action. So Serena is very much my nameplate. I love her. My hair was green for a long time, so it was very pro.
Great.
And I think too, her being like big in Alola region. Let's be real, the Alolan region felt like the Philippines, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble because I can't remember his name. Ziwawe? I can't remember his name. He was one of the like gym trainers. Anyway, he looks like freaking Rufio. And he looks
Yes.
you know who I'm talking about. He's like got shorts and he has the red and black hair.
Yes, the hair.
That looked like Rufio to me, and I was like, "What the hell?" So yeah, as much as I love Grookey, again, grass type in the New Galar region, yeah, Bounsweet, Bulbasaur, Grookey is my favorite of the new region. What are y'all's favorites?
I'm fire type all the way fire type.
Starting, I like fire type. My favorite game or my favorite playthrough of Pokemon Silver, which is my favorite Pokemon game, was with a Chikorita. So I'll always have like my baby Chikorita. But usually I'm fire.
My favorite Pokemon is Eevee,
Same.
unevolved, just
Same.
Eevee.
Eevee.
I just want Eevee to be allowed to stay Eevee and live her best life like that.
I have 2 Eevee plushes.
My favorite episode of Pokemon is where Eevee gets to stay Eevee.
Mhm.
You know, I just have a lot of feelings about it.
I mean, are y'all the type who doesn't evolve your like basic? Because I totally don't either. And I freak my Grookey is a stupid level in Shield, and I'm like, it's just a little Grookey, but whatever, stay that way because your third evolution or whatever looks like big jackfruit. And I'm like,
right, like the evolutions for that one are not my favorite. They're still cool, but they're so cute. And then they become like my bunny becomes like a weeb. Like he just has like a hoodie on. Like
he becomes Sasuke.
Yeah, I don't need him to stay a bunny. I just want him to be a fiery little bunny for now.
I was the most betrayed by Litten evolving into
I love Litten. I love his.
I love Litten too. And I was so excited. Like
it's when you feed a kitten and they just become that like lump on the back of the couch, like cat. Like that's what he becomes Garfield. Like that's.
Oh my God, yeah.
Incineroar though. That's a big boy, like it's so fun.
I love him.
I had an Incineroar. I just didn't want to pet that motherfucker.
I mean, they're fiery. I get it. So.
I love this Pokemon. I love this Poketalk. I love this.
We visit this in the nerd chat.
Yes, we'll definitely have to come back to this.
If you'll come
I
through
think
for
like something different outside of Pokemon with the nerd check.
Oh,
Because it'll be too easy. It'll be too easy.
I'm sure she's got. Look, I feel bonded with you because you don't use the term weeb. And like I taught high school for a while, and you know, kids can smell it. Like they know all about you. And so I had a kid come up to me and be like, "Oh, are you a weeb?" And I was like, "Baby, I predate that term. Like I'm older than that. That wasn't a thing when I was into anime and going to conventions. I'm an otaku." Like,
yeah. That first documentary was Otaku no Video, not Weeb no Video. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Get out of here.
I need to call you weed. That's right.
Yeah, I do have to say it is kind of awesome working with a bunch of nerds at my job. And what's really beautiful too is like in terms of like and I think I feel like, especially working for Geek Girl Con, like the nerd sphere for a long time was doing a lot of posturing, right? Because we all got ostracized as kids and teens, and so when it became to our own space, it was easier to repeat that terrible toxic behavior, right?
Holier than thou and gatekeep.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I do have to say, at my work, it's just none of that nonsense.
Wonderful.
Love it.
Which
Love
is
to hear it.
beautiful, and I love it. And I hope everybody gets an opportunity at one time in their life to have a dream job like that, be successful, and like bring others who are talented and also hype into that business as well to experience such a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, lifting up. I love that. That's the
Exactly.
best part. I feel like that's the good part of the geek community. It's the part that needs is that looking out for each other, that like supportive network based on just like pure love for something, right? I love that.
Absolutely. And like, yes, like this media in itself is like gorgeous because like there's so much freaking hard work that goes into it, right? But like it should be celebrated, even though it is a luxury too. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, so bring it back to Ninang NuNu. What are some of the things we can look forward to with Ninang NuNu? Before you say something though, I just want to say that I would love for the ShoPowSho to do a collab, Nerds of Color ShoPowSho collab with Ninang NuNu. So we're gonna build on that. I'm not gonna put you on the spot to like say what I have in mind and all that, but so I just want to say for the future, I'd like to be in those plans if we can. But what you got going on?
yes, can we do a collab? What the heck? Why is that even a question? So Ninang NuNu is currently planning 2021. Certainly no concert gets at a time soon. And while Ninang NuNu doesn't necessarily always fit in the realm of geekdom cons, there are thankfully a lot of festivals and of course online shopping where you can find Ninang NuNu. Certainly like Ninang NuNu you can find and like get all these beautiful maraming dope stickers.
I'm gonna be putting my order in this weekend, so best believe.
Oh no. Just you'll give me your addresses. I send you some. You know how that is. Tito will treat you well.
We support small businesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's 2021.
We support.
Yeah.
Don't act like I'm not going to send you home with extra fruits and that thing. So.
Yeah. Just give us some mango Tupperware in with what we order, and then
yeah, exactly. Extra scripts, huh?
What about
so there's definitely projects in the works. Look forward to more stickers, of course, but I'm aiming to expand more into stationery and hopefully apparel soon. I have my eyes on a printer who is local and also Pinay owned. So might have to do some social media stuff to see which designs either currently do well or just come up with some new stuff. But there's some stuff, like if you haven't seen already, like the newest release of these other stickers, which was like the I suppose you can't see that one. YouTube hands, come on. There we go. That one, and then the Kiss My Poet, of course.
I need that.
We want shirts of that, like so bad.
Like yesterday.
And then this one, of course, the perfect measure.
That too.
This is all like body themed, right?
Yeah.
So look forward to more themes around certain things for Ninang NuNu. It's I aim to do Ninang NuNu where it's not just like, yeah, it's Filipino. No, it's Filipino American, and then what? You know, like it might be a 2-beat joke, and that is okay with me. If you get it, it's gonna be hilarious. You know what I mean? So look forward to that. I am hella grateful for everyone's support and love for the line. I very much am spending the next week finalizing all of my planning for 2021, which I'm sure y'all did this past week too. Happy New Year. Yeah, and then once things open back up, I hope to be at festivals and stuff. You can again get Ninang NuNu merch at etsy.com/shop/Ninang NuNu, or if you're in the Seattle area, come through to Hood Famous, which is also a Filipino like owned bakery and cafe, which is like one of the big icon like over here in Seattle for the Philam community. Yeah. You can find not only delicious drinks and eats and all that good stuff. Get that ube cheesecake, get that ube cookie dough situation. Ampalaya quiche. Oh my gosh. Anyway, go there. Not only pick up Ninang NuNu stuff, you can find a ton of other Filipinx Philam artists their product at Hood Famous. So yeah.
So
love it.
Are there any other outside projects besides Ninang NuNu that you're involved with? Is it any Pokemon related stuff or anything else that you have on the horizon that you're kind of semi-playing, or you don't want to reveal those details yet?
Of course, I can't tell you anything about Pokemon because and this is hard. I'm sure y'all understand too. Like any like cosplay plans are totally just like.
I don't even like cosplay.
But like it feels weird trying to plan this year because we can't do anything. I don't know. You know what? Okay, here's a big lesson out of this. While I do want to hustle on Ninang NuNu and push it to its limits, back to this loop story, I also am not aiming to burn out, right? This is a passion project and I want to put all my love into it and not resent it or, so. Absolutely. Yeah. But if anyone wants to collab, hit me up. Let's do this. Including obviously ShoPowSho. So
awesome.
Right,
well, I think it's about that time for us to do the nerd check. And since we already nerded out about Pokemon, that's the only one off the table. But what can you TED talk about that you are just super passionate about? The more niche, the better.
Ooh, that's a good question. Can we talk about animation studios in Japan?
Absolutely.
Like, while I have mad love, OG love for Studio Gainax, and then its subsequent little sibling like Studio Trigger. I always will have love for Studio Madhouse and anything Satoshi Kon. Rest in peace, dude. His stuff was just a whole nother level. If y'all haven't checked it out, check out anything by Satoshi Kon. Favorite movie? Yeah, absolutely. Favorite movie for me, I think, is Tokyo Godfathers.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
And of course, Perfect Blue, because that is like one of the first ones, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I just love like shoujo and josei and all that femme, like, let's talk about like being an office lady story stuff.
I love a slice of life. I'm always getting into fights with people because they're like, oh, slice of life. And I was like, you don't even understand how exciting it is for me to watch somebody like get out of work and go down the street and have a beer and have food and then go home. And like, that's the whole, it's so soothing. It makes me feel good. Like the art is always nice because they can't be covering things up with like, swoosh, we're fighting now. Like everybody always has a face. There's always background. Like, leave me alone. Let me enjoy my slice of life, my shoujo, my pretty dresses, like my wedding scenes. Oh, I cry at every manga wedding scene. I read all of them, everyone. Don't care what. I'm crying. I'm already crying.
You're like, I can't handle it talking about it. It's too much.
They're happy, they're pretty, they're sparkles. I gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. I think too, one thing we don't get as much love for, and more recently we have, is like a femme perspective on just stuff in life. Even if it's the mundane shit, you know what I mean? And I think that's why for a long time, like shoujo and josei was like really appealing to me, because as much as I love like Western comics, like I didn't see myself represented until Wave came through. But shout out to Marvel for bringing Wave into the game. I think again, the Asian adjacent plus whatever, it was just a different scene, and that's okay. And I think too, okay, real talk, especially like Ate Kat and Ate Tina, you would understand going to a comic book shop by yourself and like just trying to shop.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's either like what are we in a freaking dungeon and we have to have like nerd checks just by what I'm perusing? What the hell? Get out of here, man. Like
Catwoman, shut up.
Yeah, let me just enjoy my shit. You do the same, okay? Bye. You know, I think that's also a reason why I ended up gravitating towards a lot of like anime and manga at the time when I was budding or, you know, reading a lot of the stuff. Yeah. That's not to say I don't love my sci-fi and Western comics, and my husband's a huge nerd too. And so he's introduced me into a lot of really rad stuff. He's a huge Star Wars fan. And so, of course, we're catching up on the 5 million offshoots that are Disney's coming through with.
They're like, they took away the expanded universe and they're like, okay, we're giving it back to you now.
But in little pieces.
Yes.
Little tiny tidbits, like sprinkles. Like they tore it up and they're just like confettiing it all over. I know you have a lot of feelings.
I'm
about
never
it.
gonna get over it.
I totally get it. It's like, it's so strange to think of, because I think as someone who has been going to conventions for a really long time and has been active in a lot of different nerd spaces, like gatekeeping is in every nerd community. It is. It's in all of them. But comparatively, the anime and manga communities were so much better about female interests and like female participation that it was like almost a no-brainer for me to go into this as opposed to that. And so I love comics too, but it is something that can be hard to get into. It can be something really gatekeepy. I remember when I was old enough to drive. So I was probably 17 or so. And me and another female friend were out just doing, you know, getting Slurpees and driving around as you do when you're 17 and you can drive. And we saw a comic book shop and we were like, oh, let's go get comic books. And we walked in and it was probably a tournament or something because there were a lot of people in a small space. And we walked in and I'm telling you, every single person stopped what they were doing and stared at us. And I was like, bro, like we just turned around and left because it was like 20 people and they were just looking at us like we were women, like probably combination thereof, but like wild. Like I was a space alien coming from above. Like,
why are you here?
It's 4:00 in the afternoon, sir. So I definitely get that. But I think that it's so nice, like how much further we've come, because then it was kind of like, well, I like Sailor Moon, so it's okay that you like some girly stuff. And now it's like, no, if I want to read this manga about, you know, I don't know, making miso soup every day. Like this is a thing that I like and it's good and I'm going to tell you why it's good.
I know what kind of manga you're totally talking about.
I just read cooking manga, but I am really into it right now. So
I totally know what you're talking about.
I did have a specific sip of miso soup. It's so good. Like 42 miso soup recipes. I love it.
I think too, you know, just the accessibility of stuff now is so crazy, right? Like I remember just like, oh, you had to either order a lot of stuff or you had to go to your Barnes and Noble or Borders.
Oh.
I know, sad. To get your like translated manga that sometimes was flipped the other way, the American style. You're just like, this is weird. Or you had to like pretend to go to some like Japanese book store nearby and just try to figure out the story in Japanese, even though didn't really know Japanese.
It's so funny that you mentioned that flipped manga. I've recently moved and I've been going through some things, and I found some old clamp manga of mine, some old Clover that was flipped on trash paper. God, this paper quality, I've never touched anything like it. I don't know what this is. It's like yellow. It's so sad, and it started falling out of the binding. So I tore it out, and I'm gonna make like a collage or something. I'm gonna do something cool with it. But I was like, man, I really spent like $15 on this. And I was happy and I was grateful.
Yeah, totally. I think that accessibility of that is just so, I'm like, man, these kids don't understand.
You mean I can just go on Tapas and pay $3 and just read this chapter like right now? Right now? Wild. It's even legal. Oh.
Yeah, it's legal. And then even trying to access like K-dramas or something, like it is all over like all the streaming things. And now my mom's watching it, and I'm like, what? This is crazy. So anyway.
Yo, real talk. On behalf of all those asshole men, us men folk that are treating y'all like that, my apologies. And to all my male friends that are out there listening to this, check your partners when you see them doing that foul shit, because that's not cool. Because see, they are fans and they love it just as much as you do. You know what I'm saying? So check them. And my apologies for us men folk that are doing that stupid shit. So
you know what? They hurt too. So the easiest thing to do is hurt somebody else. So all good. But also don't do that bullshit. Sorry.
Right. Like get therapy if you have access, if you need it.
Good. It's a good theme for the show. Yes. I like that.
Yes. Tammy Vince Cruz, Ninang NuNu, we love you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. We look forward to seeing you blossom and do your thing in the future. We hope we're in those plans, because I want to do I'm telling you, I want to get that collab on for real. Nerds of Color ShoPowSho, we want to make that happen. And yeah, man. Ates, what you want to say real quick before we let it go?
It's always great to talk to a boss bitch.
Yes.
Always.
Do your thing, girl. Do your thing. We love it, and we're gonna be cheerleading from here. You got fans on the East Coast, yo.
And when you're dropping some new stuff, slide in. We'd love to have you, because it's been a joy.
No, thank you again so freaking much from the bottom of my stinking heart, my big old otaku heart. This was such a joy, and also I think too, it's hella comforting just talking to other people who experience not only the nerd experience, but being Filipino American specifically in that space. So yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. I wish you guys so much success. You're gonna rock it so hard. Yeah, I look forward to all your forward episodes for sure, and all your other guests. If y'all want to play again though, I'm happy to rejoin y'all too. So
open invitation. You part of the squad now. You part of the family. So yo, anytime, holla. Got you.
Clothing merch drops.
Yeah, we're getting you back here, and then we're gonna get extra obscure with the nerd check. So then,
okay, all right. Are we gonna talk about like underwater basket weaving at this point, or what? Like,
oh yeah, but
yes.
My scuba gear.
Is there a sports anime for that yet? If there is, then we will.
Yo, there you go. Ninang NuNu, love her so much. Y'all, how'd y'all feel about that, man? Another great one.
That was so much fun. I like just great energy, so interesting, just like a really, we talked to all kinds of great people on here, and I'm so glad that we talked to every guest that we've had. But like sometimes you just like, we just click.
Connect deeper. Like
it was a click. You hear it audibly.
I love it. I loved hearing about her artist journey, and then the development of her art, and bringing Filipino culture into it, and that being a big part of it. And I loved her message of, me pulling up my notes. I
was like, okay, that one hit.
Right. Of finding success, not out of spite, but for yourself. Because doing it any other way will lead to burnout. And I was like, ugh.
Oh yeah, that was hardcore. And can we give her mad props to be like, because like we always talk about this when it's like before going to college, how she had the cojones, to just like, I'm doing this. This is my dream. I'm doing it, and she did it. Like, yo, I don't know if not many of us are willing to do that.
Right. And now she works for Pokemon.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that blew me away too. I was like, what?
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And she living the dream, and she's so all about, if one person can find that, to be in that space and get into what they love, I'm so happy for her and that she's about helping other people to support them to get to that same, arena in their life. Just so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
You love to see it. Hashtag you love to see it. So good. So y'all, make sure y'all go check out Ninang NuNu. The information is gonna be in the description. Please support the homie. She's squad now, so you gotta show love, man. Ninang NuNu, please, Pete, that show love is dope. You're gonna enjoy it, man, because it's super dope, man. For real.
Absolutely.
All right, yo, let's let them know how they can hit us up too.
All right.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at viva.valentina and on Twitter and chess.com at vivavalentinaxo.
And you can find me, Cataphoric, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I also run the ShoPowSho TikTok. Just put up a little video about us making lumpia. And if you want a little more behind the scenes action, you can always support us on Patreon or buy us a coffee.
Yes. I need a cat type graphic too. Now that I'm thinking about in the Ninang NuNu style, and I need a chess bully. When you brought up the chess again, I was like, you need to have another split personality like design for your chess bully shit, Tina. We all about it. We in your corner like Don King to Tyson. You're our chess bully Tyson fighter, and me and Kat, we're like, yo, get him.
I'm like, yeah, I play chess.
Anyway,
love
creepy.
it.
Where can they find you?
Mad love to the Ates. Just you always make me smile, and this was another great one. I'm so smiling ear to ear. So let's. I hope this gave y'all smiles out there listening, because this is for y'all. This is what the community is about. We're shining, and we should celebrate that every time you do it. Recognize that shine and keep building. All right. I'm CMYK. You can follow me at Strange Since 1977 and at Temple Far East. That's the Twitter and IG. The home daddy to this whole squad is the Nerds of Color. Follow us at the Nerds of Color, and also the even wider pop culture sphere of Nerds Rule the World at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday. That is us. Until next time, we are CMYK and the amazing Ates, shining bright like a diamond and rocking with Ninang NuNu. Shout out to Ninang NuNu. We love you. All right, here we go. Salamat, mahal kita.
Mahal kita din.
Boom.
Mabuhay mga kababayan! It is Ninang NuNu, aka Tammy Vince Cruz, and I am coming at you at ShoPowSho. Come see me. Say hi to your Ninang, and check us out. Nerds of Color, ShoPowSho. Come through, fam! Mabuhay mga kababayan! It is Ninang NuNu, aka Tammy Vince Cruz. My Filipino heritage is hella important to me because it is part of my DNA, my blood, my culture, my heritage, and everything that is part of my being.